Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is Josh Thomas here, Nintendo fanboy extraordinaire, and I got a couple other people who are going to sit in with me, and we're going to discuss the Nintendo Switch presentation, basically just discuss all things Nintendo Switch. I am joined by the one and only Nintendaan.
Hello, everybody.
And then, of course, you know him, you love him, it's Mr. RogersBase.
What's going on, everybody? Etika World Network here.
I have no idea what that was. All right, listen. We have no organization going on here.
Yep.
We have no idea what we're going to talk about other than the fact that it's a Nintendo Switch. Boys, jump into the pit and start throwing Nintendo Switch stuff around.
I love it.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah, what is the general consensus here? Is everybody, pretty positive about this Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, hey, guys, where can they find you?
That was a good discussion, guys. See you later.
My first impression for this, I guess I'll kick it off here to, start the vibe here. My first impression were some of the ways that they presented things could have been handled a little better. A minute and 20 seconds of 1-2 switch. The beginning of that trailer is just two cowboys slowly facing off, and it's just like, what is this? When are they going to get to the point? Arms was just a lot of footage of two people throwing their hands at each other. Right. So some of the trailers I do feel could have been presented a bit more. Like that Arms trailer. Why didn't you tell us that it's really focused on the characters? I think that's something they should have focused on instead. However, the more I look at the presentation, the more I take in all things Nintendo Switch, the more I really, really love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the pacing of that presentation felt really off. Especially in the moments where you just mentioned with that live action stuff, I felt that was a bit too long. I loved the part with Koizumi-san, who did the whole stuff with the Joy-Cons. I think that actually was kind of charming.
Yeah.
But the stuff with the live action stuff with the characters and everything, it just felt way too long. Especially if you look back now at the cowboy part, it's too long in the teeth. And that time was better spent explaining different parts of different games.
Yeah, my favorite part of the presentation was when the translator was going off script for Suda 51. That was really what sold me on the presentation.
Well, I think it was the other way around. I think Suda 51 was going off script, and the translator was just okay, a lot of the stuff
I saw there's a job opening in Nintendo of America right now for a translator.
Yeah, it happened
right after.
It happened shortly after that.
Yeah,
I actually liked the presentation a lot. I think all the games they announced were really good. The more I think about it, the more I think this lineup is just incredible, especially when compared to the first year of Wii U. I feel like people have a very short memory, and they don't really remember what the first year of Wii U looked like, because the first year of Wii U was not good. There were a lot more games at launch, but I think this is a situation of quality over quantity.
To be fair, let's put the asterisk where it belongs. The first year of Wii U was just all games that were delayed from the first couple of months of the Wii U.
Right. Yeah. And because we had Pikmin. I mean, Pikmin 3 obviously is a great game, but I look at the stuff that was announced here and the different modes, the different ways of playing, having it on a tabletop mode with the Joy-Cons and being able to just play anywhere and play with two people, local multiplayer in these games that I've wanted local multiplayer for. And I know I'm going to get hate for this, and I feel like I'm in the minority. I mean this genuinely. I don't mean this snarkily. I think the Switch has...
Snarkily?
Yeah. I think the Switch has the right type of third-party content. And what I mean by that is I think they were very aware of the fact that, third parties on the whole haven't been great on Nintendo platforms. And yet, the third parties that they courted for the Switch, I think, are the right type of third parties, right? Like Bomberman, Street Fighter, No More Heroes, franchises that are classic Nintendo, Dragon Quest, right? Nintendo-esque third-party franchises, character franchises that I think a lot of people will be able to pick up and play that also genuinely feel like Nintendo games. You know what I mean? I feel like there isn't really room... there is. I'm sure people would argue with me on this, but there isn't really room for Call of Duty on the Switch. I'm not going to play Call of Duty on the Switch.
It's very minuscule, right. The amount of people who really want it.
Am I going to play a classic Bomberman game on the Switch? Hell yeah! A classic Bomberman? A remake of Street Fighter 2 with new characters? Of course. Those are the right type of games. And I feel that was something that really came through. Sonic Mania? The more I think about it, a co-op 2D sprite Sonic game on the Switch, I think is going to be really good. I can't wait to play Sonic Mania on it.
And I really like what they showed, but then it makes also the EA segment completely out of place.
Mm-hmm.
So and don't get me wrong. I am a big soccer guy. I love soccer, but I'm also thinking, EA also botched this up with Wii U. Why should I trust them this time?
Yeah, the reason I accepted FIFA is because, and you guys know this, being YouTubers as well, strip FIFA is something that's very popular among YouTubers. People like having on cute girls to play strip FIFA, and I think having FIFA on Switch, where you could just do tabletop mode, maybe go to a strip club and play strip FIFA. I think there's going to be a lot of great videos coming out of that.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. What? Hold on a second. Being YouTuber, I'm supposed to know that there's something called... What is strip FIFA?
So strip FIFA is this thing where, like, there's a lot of YouTubers who, like, play FIFA, and they'll invite, like, models or other, like, really hot Instagram girls to come over to their house, and they play FIFA, but they play basically, like, a version of it that's, like, strip FIFA, kind of like strip poker. And if you lose, you take off a piece of your clothing. Yeah. And I think this opens up a whole new door for people to play FIFA out in the wild in maybe places they wouldn't have been playing FIFA otherwise. And I'm excited for the possibilities.
I love that you are excited about FIFA. Naked people.
It's. I mean, I like those games a bunch, but I'm kind of worried that the Nintendo version will not be good at all.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's a Dragon Quest game coming to the Switch. Yeah. I don't know if it's the main one, but I saw there's some comparison screenshots, and apparently the Switch version is just like...
That's what's Dragon Quest Heroes.
Heroes
the
1 and 2.
Warriors version.
Yeah.
So that's not the main one, correct?
No.
That's like a side thing?
But the main one is coming to it. 11 is coming to it.
Apparently it's based on the PlayStation 3 version.
Okay, so yeah, this is an example of, because people were trying to use that as, see, the Switch isn't powerful enough. No, it's the developers just lazy. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. Like, there's not as many particle effects in the Switch version. Like, the Switch can handle particle effects fine. There's no doubt in my mind. The friggin' Wii could. So yeah, I mean, you're right, Don, about how, it's really going to matter. How do the third-party developers treat the Switch? Do they treat the Switch audience with respect and try to make the, game just as good?
Yeah.
Because if they don't even bother, in my opinion. Like, why even bother? Because it's not going to sell well. You're wasting everyone's time.
Even if a game like, say, Rayman Legends Definitive Edition doesn't come at launch, right?
Right.
There's still, like, the impression I got from that interview with, what's his name again?
Michael Ansel?
Yeah, Michael Ansel. He still seems invested in making that version good. Okay. And that is for me the big difference here. If you are invested in making a version that's like runs fine and does enough stuff on Nintendo Switch, then of course, naturally I will buy it. That's not really the issue here. It's more what you do with it and how the game will end up playing in the very end of it.
Right. Have they actually given any details about that? Because I'm completely in the dark as to whether or not it has a lot of new content or what makes it like the definitive version.
They said that they're going to add new content. And it's not really a surprise because they added new levels also to the Xbox One version.
Oh, I was going to say, because I don't remember any new levels being added to the Wii U game.
No. The proper HD, as some people call it, versions after that for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One added new content to those versions. So
I wonder why they didn't add it to the Wii U.
No, I don't know either. But if we're getting new content on Switch, whatever.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, it's I actually kind of feel like Ubisoft's support of the Switch is shockingly minimal.
Well, I also kind of think that because we all agree Rabbids is something that exists. I think that's too weird of a thing to have gone around everywhere, and we've heard too much about it for that not to exist. I think Ubisoft is really going to come through at E3. I think one of the big reveals is going to be that Rabbids Kingdom Battle or whatever at E3. And I have a feeling that's probably more of like a holiday game, and they just didn't want to reveal it now. But we just had that Fire Emblem Direct where they announced a Fire Emblem for Switch. So obviously, like, there will be more announcements of more games over the course of the next year. And I think that's probably, E3 is probably the time we're going to get that Rabbids game.
Yeah. I mean, it's just even with the Wii U, they had at least they had two original games. I mean, there was that crappy Rabbids Land game, which was horrible. And then there was Zombie U, which some people liked, some people didn't. But they were at least totally original.
Yeah. One thing I will say, though, for all the people who are hating on that potential Rabbids game,
I can't wait.
I was going to say Rabbids Go Home is actually a really good game. I don't like the other Rabbids game, but the other Rabbids games, the first one was all right. But Rabbids Go Home is genuinely really good, and hopefully it's that team working on whatever this game is. So,
I agree. I had Rabbids Go Home from launch, and then somehow I lost the disc, and I just recently, about a week or so ago, bought it again on eBay because I really wanted to play again, and it has stood the test of time. Yeah. Like, it's still just as fun. I was worried that I'd pop it in and be like, oh, this isn't as good, but no, it's really fun, and the Rabbids are actually very charming and funny and charismatic in that game. They're not like annoying like minions or anything. I can see it.
What I love about Rabbids Go Home is the freaking loading screen with an entire fanfare on that mattress.
Oh yeah,
that is so insane.
Going through a sewer, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping they show that eventually. I'd imagine E3. If they don't show it at E3, then that game is unfortunately made up, I would say.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the controllers themselves. When I first saw HD Rumble, I was instantly very, very intrigued and excited, and it seems like such a Nintendo thing. No other company is going to be like, hey, Rumble, what can we do new with Rumble? I mean, most companies want to get rid of it and don't even think it's important. So to see Nintendo say, like, we're going to do HD Rumble, and you're really going to be able to feel what's going on, that is really exciting to me. I'm very excited to have my first experience with what that is.
I got to try that for, like, a good hour and a half, and I will say it's really legit.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, what did you experience? Like, what were some of the things?
I mostly experienced with ARMS and 1-2 Switch. So, especially in 1-2 Switch with specific minigames, one of the games that I would specifically call out is Safe Crack, where you have to tilt the Joy-Con to find 3 different weak spots in a lock to open the safe. And every individual piece of that lock has a very different piece of haptic feedback. So you're really twisting it around and trying to feel the correct spots in that lock, which it might sound stupid, but it feels so intriguing and fun to do so. And it made like this very simple task like really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things in 1-2 Switch that I'm really curious about is apparently there's some kind of game where you have to guess how many marbles are in a box.
Yes,
so ball count.
Tried that too.
Yeah.
Ball count, yeah.
Is that actually like something that's possible? Can you really like get involved with that and be like, okay, there's 3
yes,
or whatever?
Yes, it's super involved. And again, it sounds stupid on paper because you wouldn't think it's all that fun. But once you're like really tilting that Joy-Con, you're like, okay. And the trick is that you then decide how many marbles are in there with the control stick, put your Joy-Con down, and you can really bluff, like really call the other person out from, you're still trying to figure out what's in there, haha.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So you're both doing it at like the same time?
Yeah, and
okay.
You kind of also kind of like bluff your way to victory in that sense.
Yeah. Honestly, when I first saw 1-2 Switch, I was like, okay, I don't really care. This seems like there's no game. I think that's like one of the things I actually said, like there's no game here. But the more I think about it, and the more I let myself think outside of the box, I realize this could be a very, very unique, fun game. And it does seem like the type of thing. I mean, like Easter is coming up shortly after the Switch launches. I am definitely gonna bring my Switch over to like my family Easter dinner
and play 1-2 Switch.
And play 1-2.
Yeah, I gotta say,
it's so cool that you can do that.
I gotta say, I can't say much now, but I will say that 1-2 Switch has also won me over, and I'll be able to talk about that at some point soon. But it's very much won me over. And the ball count game is really cool, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I think where the game sort of falters is with the more simple ones, like the shootout game. I think like 1-2 Switch needs more games like Safe Crack and Ball Count. Overall in its package.
So far, I think they've announced that there are 20 or 21.
Over 20, they said.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good variety. I mean, that's a pretty good number, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Have they discussed anything about like different like mode options and how do the menus look, or did you not really see that type of stuff?
So they discussed this after the fact. So there are over 20 games. Apparently, 2 of them can be played in single player. The rest is more multiplayer focused.
Okay, that's fine. But what I mean is, like, was there any talk of maybe having like some sort of endurance thing? Like sometimes, WarioWare has these modes where you just keep going or something like that.
I haven't heard anything in particular in that sense.
Okay, well, I'm hoping there's maybe a little bit something extra to kind of pull it all together a bit more cleanly.
That would be nice.
ARMS. You guys want to talk a little bit about ARMS?
Before we move away from HD Rumble, though, one thing I do want to say is a lot of people are talking about it in terms of 1-2 Switch, whereas I think like this is also maybe not as much like of a revolutionary thing as like motion control with the Wii, but the idea of like, for example, playing Splatoon, right? And you have like the ink, and then like how much ink you have. If they could like change the weight of the controller and then it feels empty, and that's how you know you have to like recharge. Those kind of subtle things are, I think, where the HD Rumble stuff is really going to succeed. And that obviously we're just going to have to wait and see like what other games are developed that really like utilize that. But I could see Nintendo's first parties over the course of the system's life really taking advantage of that, and that actually makes me very excited.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, just like one of the first things that came to mind when I was thinking of HD Rumble is like for a Pikmin game, Pikmin has a lot of really crazy enemies. What if there was an enemy that burrows under the ground and you have to move around your cursor and you feel
like where
it is hiding? Yeah, like where's the strongest pulse, where's the strongest vibration, and then you throw your Pikmin at that and they like dig them up or something. So yeah, just that the idea of being able to like feel your games more is genius, and I cannot wait to feel it for myself.
Yeah, and I feel especially with One to Switch next to like the HD Rumble, it's not built as a pointer. Like it has the IR camera, but it's not built as a pointer. The Joy-Cons are more motion sensing than motion control, which means that it makes experience like One to Switch possible, which I really like.
Mm-hmm. Actually, just so I don't forget, this is kind of like getting off track just a second, but I know I'll forget about this. So I do have some concerns that maybe you gentlemen can help me with. I cannot play first-person shooters with dual analog sticks. I couldn't before, and I certainly can't go back after playing with Wii Motion Plus, like GoldenEye 007, Red Steel 2, being able to point at the screen, Metroid Prime 3. The IR, though, on the Joy-Cons, that camera thing, does not face away from you. It faces towards you, which kind of has me worried, because, like, I was thinking, oh, this is like the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. I'll just point at the screen. But no, it would be backwards. Like, so what do you think? Like, are they going to find a solution to that, or is there something that I'm missing?
If, like, first-person shooters come to the Switch, they could easily release another Joy-Con. It's not that hard to think, but it's, yeah, in its current state, I don't think that is going to happen, especially, again, with the IR camera really facing towards you.
Well, why don't you just... I mean, the controller's like... The controller, the way the controller's set up already, it's like one of them has the control stick on the top and one has it on the bottom. I can imagine you could just flip the controller. Like,
yeah, that's the other thing I was going to ask. Since you guys held it, would you be able to flip it and still feel comfortable?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so, especially with the two shoulder buttons at the bottom. I don't think that would work.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. The other thing I was thinking is, I believe in Nintendo Land, the Metroid Blast thing, you don't you aim with motion controls for the ship?
Yeah.
So maybe just using the typical Switch controller, you can aim like that?
Right, but I'm thinking about it, and like, you
yeah.
don't really need, like, if you're playing Splatoon with motion control, right, and you're like shooting at stuff.
Right, there's a better example.
Right, like when you're playing Splatoon, you're not pointing at the screen. You're just like, you're moving it around and it goes. You know what I'm saying?
We're literally talking about first-person shooters, but yeah.
Oh, okay, just first-person, yeah.
Yeah, it is a very different example because it only made the controls better by just allowing you to tilt the controller, which is not that hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially with the new Pro controller and what have you, since every control scheme supports that now. So it really is also. I think that aspect of it feels also built for Splatoon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my main concern, though, is, like, with Pikmin being able to actually move the cursor around with something other than an analog, and even, like, Splatoon, that's a good example, though. Like, Splatoon, now that you mention it, Roger, that does give me hope that you can still do a first-person shooter, but just not with the pointing thing.
Yeah.
And maybe in some ways that actually will end up being better. I remember a lot of people back in the day when I was, like, introducing them to Wii and stuff, they maybe didn't, play a lot of games, or maybe they haven't played with the Wii Remote. The pointing element to the sensor bar is always the hardest thing to get people to understand or to get people to do well.
Yeah.
So maybe if they eliminate that with these Joy-Con controllers, it will be even better. But that's just something that I'm really puzzled by why the camera is facing towards you.
Yeah, I think that the camera is used in different ways than we think they would.
Yeah.
Especially maybe in combination with One to Switch, that will be more obvious to see. But it's, I honestly feel that IR camera would have been more beneficial towards the screen.
Yeah, me too.
At the
Because if you wanted to flip it, you could. Like, there's the 1-2 switch thing where you got to eat the cheeseburgers, and you got to face it towards your mouth. But you could easily just take like a Wii remote and face that towards your mouth. So,
sure, but
I'm not
the
sure
difference of the AR in the Wii remote is that it was basically only built for pointing.
Right. But I just mean the idea of taking a Wii remote and facing it towards you doesn't seem ridiculous. So wouldn't the same be true for the Joy-Con?
Yeah, but this has an actual camera inside and it's not powered by T-lights.
Right, but I'm just saying, as far as how comfortable it would be.
Yeah,
so
for
just
sure.
Really
I do see what you mean, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe there's... I feel like that's something Nintendo knows more about than us, and I wish they would have filled us in on that a bit more, because it does seem like a very strange decision to have that facing towards you. Maybe Nintendo wants to spy on our chests at all time, where it'd be facing. No, obviously, they had that really high-tech camera in the controller, because, they want to have their VR experience ready when they release it in a couple years. But we were going to move on to ARMS. What did you guys think of ARMS? What was your first impression with ARMS, whether playing it or just seeing it? What is ARMS?
So this is funny because we talked about this on the discussion that was on my channel, and I feel like I am the only person who, when I first saw this game, was like, I love this. To me,
I was too.
Well, that's amazing to hear then, because when I first saw this, one, I love the character designs. I think they are awesome. I can't wait to see the cosplays that come out of this. Two, getting another fighting game from Nintendo is great, and they are pushing this. There's a big Smash tournament going on in California right now, Genesis, and JC from Nintendo is there right now, along with Kate from Nintendo and a bunch of other people, and they're demoing ARMS to the competitive Smash community. And it's obviously because they didn't talk about this during the event, but you don't have to play with motion control if you don't want to.
No,
you could play it like a competitive fighting game. And I also really love how the art style. Not only do I like the design of the characters, I love how the art style really harkens to me towards Overwatch. This seems like they are trying to get the Overwatch audience with the quirky, cartoony kind of characters. I love everything about ARMS, and I really, really want to play it for myself.
It's a bit more cartoony than Overwatch.
Yeah,
slightly. Not much.
Well, I can say that for definitely because I played it.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah.
It's slightly more cartoony than Overwatch, but
okay.
I during the event I only played it with motion control, and it was totally doable. Nice. I really loved it. Because the shoulder mods are basically done for dodging and jumping, and then you do your basic attacks with just swinging your arms left or right. You move left or right at the same time to move yourself about. Left punch, right punch, and if you punch them both forward, you actually grab your opponents and then can do some quick punches to get some more health out of them, and then block them by pulling the Joy-Cons towards you. It feels very simple, but there's also a hook to it where if you do certain moves, you will see them replicated in the game. Especially hook shots or what have you, if you do that with your Joy-Cons, the game mimics that perfectly, and I really, really like that.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel, maybe not in the demo you couldn't tell, but do you think after a long period of time playing this, you might think that it's a little bit too simple in its battling and it will get boring, or no?
I think there is a good amount of variables there. Naturally, we have to see how the entire game turns out, and I think that's the bigger question here. It needs to have enough content in it to continue being engaging.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I did not know when they first introduced it to us, and I kind of wish they would have made this clear, is you actually get to pick your fists.
Yes, you do. Yes.
I am amazed they did not make that clear when they showed it to us.
Well, they did on Treehouse. On Treehouse, they did.
Right, but that was the following day, and not anywhere near as many people would watch the Treehouse stream as the main original presentation. And what's even cooler is apparently, and maybe I was seeing this wrong, Don, you can correct me.
Sure.
You can have a different fist for left and right hand.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
So that seems like it could add some strategy.
In one match, one of my fists was more rocket powder, where the other is more elastic and could more freely move about and wobble about.
Okay. Do they feel almost like different kind of power-ups in a way? Are they
that
wacky? Or?
Yes, they do. They absolutely do.
Okay. And I don't know if this was in just the Treehouse demo, but it seemed like they actually had 9 of them at least.
They differ per character.
Oh, okay. Are there any that are universal?
The main one, the more the actual wheel fist with just a boxing glove is a bit more
Yeah.
universal.
Okay.
But there are differences between characters.
Okay, and then just like as the Roger, I can't believe you. We'll just stay moving right along. I'm amazed the internet did that real quick. Now I've lost what I was going to ask Don. Different characters. So we know that the fists are actually different and they do different things. Are the characters different as well then?
Oh, the characters' build are very different.
Okay.
You will see it in the trailer too. Like especially even like the two basic ones you saw. I can't remember their names for the life of it.
Ribbon
Girl and Spring Boy.
Spring Man.
Spring Boy. Even I feel that Ribbon Girl is a bit more like free moving as you control her, while Ribbon Boy is more focused on attacking.
I gotta say though, of the two characters, like I kind of feel like I like Ribbon Girl more. Like I like her design more, and I hope that
you're showing us why you.
No,
like
that's
her
not
more
what I
right
mean. Though.
Now.
I mean, like I think I would like her more like as a Smash Brothers character than Spring Boy. I just feel like I don't know. I like her as a character.
See, I'm opposite on that. I think it's Spring Man. By
well,
the way.
whatever. Spring Boy.
Okay.
Why is
I
he
feel like
Spring Man and she's Ribbon Girl? That doesn't make any sense.
Because she's not yet a woman.
Oh.
She's got to earn that title. He's earned his title.
Not
man.
yet a woman.
So yeah, I that game is interesting, and I'm really gonna be curious to see how much depth it has to it. And I think ultimately, what will make me like it more and more are two things: really putting an emphasis on the characters and having a good amount of them, and also stages that have a different feeling to them and have fun gimmicks going on. I did notice there are gimmicks. There's like a trampoline that can be activated in one of the centers of the stage.
Yep.
Pillars in the way of another one.
Yeah, that's the underground stage. I think that's like the mummy stage. That stage looks really, really cool because you could throw your punches and curve them like around the pillars.
Right.
And there's great strategy there.
Sadly, in the demo we couldn't choose different stages, so I didn't really get to see that aspect of it.
Well, it seems like if they got enough stages and enough characters and they're really unique and have a lot of personality, that will make this game a lot more enjoyable in the long run.
For sure, yeah.
And change that frigging name. I hate the
No,
name
I love
for
the
that
name
game.
ARMS. It's easy, it's simple.
I feel that ARMS is a name that NCL chose and America and Nintendo of Europe are stuck with.
Yeah, I think I tweeted that out where I was like,
really?
yeah, that sounds. Yeah, I think I said exactly that. I was like, ARMS definitely seems like one of those games that Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Europe wants to change.
But what would you call it instead?
I mean, you're putting me on the spot, but I could definitely come. Wait a minute. So, all right, hold on. I did watch a video from Raw Meat from Go Nintendo, and he was talking with his parents about what they thought of the Switch. Just today, I watched it, and he mentioned because his dad thought it was a really lame name too. Shout out to Kevin's dad, who's amazing, by the way. He's a hero of mine. But he was like, that's a really dumb name. Like, he was really like amazed at how dumb the name is. And then like Raw Meat was like, well, do you get it? It's like ARMS. And I realized, wait a minute, ARMS as in like fighting sort of idea. I thought it was literally just like, I don't know, arms, like as in your arm.
No, it's supposed to be both. I mean, it's a double entendre. That's why it's good.
I didn't get that. I didn't get the double entendre. I was just like, wow, is this a temp holder name? It sounds so lame if you don't get that. Like, put yourself in the position of not getting it's supposed to be like fighting arm, you know? I was just like, arms. And then I was like, they're not even really using their arms. They're using their fists. So I didn't get it at all.
They're extending their arms, Josh.
Yes, they are.
Extendable arms. You have to say it the way the translator said it.
Extendable arms.
Spring Man for Smash Brothers.
Ribbon Girl for Smash Brothers.
No Ribbon Girl at all. Ribbon Girl is just applauding Spring Man.
Wrong. Ribbon Girl should absolutely be in Smash Brothers. Because I want to see Ribbon Girl, Bayonetta, Female Corrin, and Red Robin all on a stage together playing with each other. That's what I want.
Red Robin, yum. Don didn't get that stupid reference at all. It's an American commercial for a restaurant.
Okay. I'm actually going to have Red Robin for dinner. I think I'm going to go to the Galleria and have Red Robin for dinner.
So yeah, that is ARMS. I mean, cool. What? All right, let's get into it. We have to talk about this. We have to talk about Super Mario 2006.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes.
Jesus. I don't know if you fellas saw my reaction to that game, but it was just my soul drained out of me the second I saw Mario in a realistic setting with actual humans. And then I was instantly pumped back with joy from all of my orifices, holes in my body.
Nice.
When I saw the rest of the game. So it was like this weird thing. It was like eating something very sour and then having something like really sweet. Let's go with the obvious question here and then we'll get in more in depth. What the hell do you think about realistic setting for Mario?
I don't care.
And I also don't care. I think it's funny.
Shame on both of you. You're contributing to the downfall of society.
No, I will say this, is I like the idea that a world is going to be based around like the real world, because that's something that Mario has never done before. It's a bizarre idea for a world, and I think that'll be funny. I think I would rather it be a world, though, and not the hub. I hope it's not the hub. But then the more I think about it, and the more I analyze that trailer, pull out the old analysis machine, I think it might be the hub. And the reason I say this, let me explain why. I think the billboards of the city are going to be like the paintings of Mario 64, and I think you jump into the billboards, and that's what takes you into the different worlds.
The billboards don't have anything specifically on them, though. They're just generic signs for New Donk City.
I don't know. We'll see.
So here's I actually stole the analysis machine.
But here's the thing. You're actually traveling around in that top hat.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. There is no overworld. This game does not have an overworld. It's the top hat ship, and it just brings you to each world. I'm going to be willing to bet there is some sort of menu navigation. Like Mario's got some little navigator dashboard on that ship that you get, and it's like a 2D interface, and that's how you decide what world you're going to travel to. I don't think this game has the inequivalency of the Peach's Castle grounds or Delfino Plaza.
Really?
I think going back to my actual thoughts on New Donk City, which is a great name, by the way.
I do love the name. The name is
it's so
fantastic.
Fun to say. Honestly, yeah, I don't really mind. I mean, it's a interesting idea. For me, and this goes back to the whole software making discussion. It more depends on how they handle it than anything else.
Right.
For me, a setting is a setting, and a setting can be exploited two ways, good or bad, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for me, my initial reaction was just, like I said, pure disgust. But the more time that I've had to really think about it, because my initial reaction was, this is the new overworld, this is a big identity to this game, but I don't think it is. I think this is just one world that you go to, and it's got its own silly things going on.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I know that there are some segments of, like, cutscenes where, like, there's that big, weird centipede boss climbing the building in the realistic world, but I think that's just a boss battle.
That boss, by the way, looked awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Terrifying, yeah. I'm a little sad that it wasn't like a robotic Donkey Kong. I really want Donkey Kong to make an appearance.
That's cool. I honestly didn't we talk about that on our discussion too? Is that
I think
like a pixelated Donkey Kong has to be like an enemy in that world at some point.
Somewhere at least, yeah. Like I'd be so surprised.
Do you really want to be reminded of Pixels?
Oh
yes, that's a great movie. That was one of my favorite movies of. I can't do this. It's a horrible movie.
I love that cooking world with the turnips. And I'm wondering,
everything's
I'm wondering if that's going to double as like a Mario 2 world and a cooking world. Because there seems to be like, oh my god, the ancient aliens, like desert with the alien spaceship pyramids, and then like the Simba. Oh my god, I love that.
You
world.
can ride on a gosh dang lion in this game.
Simba boys!
And it's like, and he's like running around very violently too. It's like a really fast lion that's like, oh my god. And then there's those weird skull bunnies rising from the ground.
I
and
love
stuff.
it so much.
Right.
And it actually brings a question that I have for you guys. Do you think that these levels are going to have day and night mechanics? Like, because it seems like we've seen multiple ones during the day and at night. New Donk City, we've seen it day and night. The desert, we saw it day and night.
I think it might be.
So do you think that's a thing?
I think it might kind of work like Mario Sunshine, where like when you would
Pianta Village.
Yeah. Where like sometimes it would be nighttime, sometimes it would be daytime. I think it'll be like that for certain stars or whatever you collect in this game.
Right, that would be cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, just everything about that trailer. I've even warmed up, by the way. I just want to say I've warmed up to New Donk City.
Oh, good.
I'm accepting it. I'm accepting it for the massive meme that it is. And, I mean, Mario walking next... there was something with, like, the actor from the live-action Super Mario movie. What was his name again? He passed away, unfortunately.
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah. Bob Hoskins, yeah. They took that screenshot of like Mario looking at some guy who looks just like Bob Hoskins, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's come full circle." Mario's in the real world looking at his real life counterpart. But the more I accept New Donk City as just being a world, I just kind of throw my hands up in the air and say, yep, all right, you know what? It's ridiculous, and I obviously love insane, ridiculous things, so okay. It's probably my least favorite area as far as like what looks the most fun to explore. My favorite, I'm going to see if any of you guys agree with me on this, that woods area where there's the giant trees and you see the like mist and you see the sun like beaming through them and stuff.
That
oh my
looks
God.
beautiful.
Yeah, and that looks like it is going to be so much fun to just explore. I can already tell the music in that area is going to be fantastic. Roger?
I mean, I talked about this in my video. I've already...
Agree with me.
Oh, dude, I said in my video that I think the music is composed by Jesus Christ himself. I've said that in my video.
I think that's actually been proven on Wikipedia
I think so.
already.
So yeah, I mean, I love it.
Super Mario Odyssey. And I think that name really does give us a hint in terms of what's to come. I think there are probably even more worlds that are going to make us say, oh my God, what are they doing here? This is crazy. So that's a great theme for Mario. Just odd level design.
Yep.
Then, of course, I don't know if we really have much to say about this. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild looks amazing, and I'm assuming we all can't wait to get it.
Yeah, the
Absolutely.
only new thing I can say is that I saw it running on Switch, and that difference between the E3 demo on Wii U and Switch is night and day.
Really?
Yeah, because I felt that demo on Wii U kind of chugged along sometimes. And for the record, it was the same... I played the same part as E3.
Right, that's what people were saying.
Yeah, and it run like way more natural and beautiful.
Nintendo Tweet posted some pictures today that were like screenshot comparisons of the Wii U and Switch version, and yeah, there's a definite difference between the two.
Yeah, and because again, the frame rate the frame rate on the Wii U game, and I think Roger can also attest to this, especially with explosions and stuff, it seemed to chug at moments. And the Switch build didn't have that, like at all.
Which is what you would hope. Does it run at a better resolution? Yeah, 900p, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Is that when it's on the TV or when it's handheld?
On the TV, because if you can't remember, the handheld, the screen is actually just 720p.
720, yeah, okay.
But even on the handheld screen, it seemed to run better.
Yeah, I think it's because you're really not... Like, the dock obviously gives it a little bit more power, but the system itself is, like, the controller. Like, the whole thing is one system. So,
Right.
So, I mean, I would imagine that it would still run well. Yeah.
Are we ready to talk about the greatest game for Nintendo Switch ever? Well, before we get to that, there are a couple more that I want to go over here.
Snipperclips?
Listen, no spoilers.
Oh.
I think Snipperclips looks really fun.
Let's just go into Snipperclips. It's Game of the Year. It's beaten Zelda. I can't believe it. And
Snipperclips is co-op game 2017.
Yes. It is so charming and wonderful. It's actually made by an indie developer, by the way.
Yeah, actually, what is interesting, they showed this game a year earlier, and apparently Nintendo picked it up.
Did they show it publicly a year earlier?
Yeah, they did it in a GDC presentation.
Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty amazing for Nintendo to do that, then, to like actually reach out to an indie developer and then like use it as one of their like big launch download.
That got
movies.
revealed relatively recently too, right? Like I think they didn't talk about the fact that like that was the developer behind it, but then like there was some tweet I think the developer put out and they were like, "Hey, we're the developers behind it. Great feedback. Can't wait to like have you guys play it." Yeah.
You know what's really funny? The last Halloween, I was looking at games on Steam, like Halloween games, and they make a really cool Halloween
Haunt the
game
House.
that has a
Haunt the House, yeah, which is
and has
really
a similar, similar art style, and I think you just go around as a ghost scaring people out of houses. I didn't download it, unfortunately, but I think now I have to.
The art style of that game is also very similar to the art style of Snipperclips. Like it's like flat 2D, really colorful, really pretty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should absolutely play it. It's also on the App Store too. You could like play it on your smartphones. So. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think a lot of their games actually have a similar art style to Snipperclips, which is, as far as I'm concerned, a big thumbs up. I actually think it seems a little bit... Don, maybe you can back me up on this.
Sure.
Doesn't it have a little bit of a Skip vibe, in a way? Sort of the silly, weird characters?
It definitely does.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say, it's got a bit of a sexual vibe.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you, Roger. Roger, don't you agree? There's a sexual vibe.
Like that, you have that GIF that you retweeted, and I saw a lot of other people retweeted of like the one rubbing his way on like the head of the girl, and he's like rubbing his butt on her head, and he's making like weird little faces, like I'm comfortable here. I love just the quirkiness of the characters. You know what I really want is I want a Snipperclips level in the next Smash Brothers. I think that would make for a really
that
fun
could be
level.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I think about Snipperclips is good because I played about 2 levels of it. The thing is with puzzle games, I don't want to spoil myself too much because I will know everything of the content that's in it. So I played about 2 puzzles, and it's really simple with just sitting with 2 people behind that tablet, just having your Joy-Cons in both hands, just tilting each other, moving about, solving puzzles together. It's really cute and adorable.
Yeah, have they mentioned anything about like how many puzzles are in the game?
No, they didn't talk about that.
Okay, because I noticed they also have a 1 to 4 player mode, and they have not shown that at all.
Yeah, apparently you can play it up to 4 people.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I think I like the most is you have to really cooperate and talk to each other to really solve those puzzles. Because with some puzzle games, you get the feeling of co-op, but it's not always there. And this game, you actually really have to discuss what you're going to do and work together to cut each other away to make the perfect shapes to solve the puzzle at hand, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, other than Zelda, I think that's my favorite Switch launch title.
See, for me,
so
I gotta
amazing.
say this because no one else has really talked
Okay.
about this, and I mentioned it a little bit in the beginning. Like,
Okay.
I love Super Bomberman R.
That's a good transition. That's where I wanted to go from
Absolutely
here.
love it. Again, I mentioned like earlier, I think that is the right type of third-party game for this. And I think a lot of people who get this day one and get Zelda will probably also pick up Bomberman because that seems like the quintessential sort of like tabletop game when you're just out in public and you want to play a quick game with a friend. Like Bomberman is so perfect for it, and you could play the whole campaign co-op. Graphically, I really love the look of it because it looks like classic Bomberman, the cartoony, like Bomberman 64 kind of Bomberman vibe. It doesn't look like that weird X-Zero thing, and I love the fact there's a single-player mode. Oh, I love everything about it. The music sounds really good.
I'm interested in Bomberman, and I played it at. I would say that the multiplayer mode that I played of it felt kind of vanilla, especially compared to the last 2 Bomberman games before. But I'm willing to give it a chance for sure.
Yeah.
Is this a remake of something?
No,
or is this
totally new Bomberman game using the classic
Okay.
Bomberman style, which is something I honestly never thought we were going to see again. So that because originally
Konami
Bomberman
is making video games.
Exactly. Konami, I thought like they just basically bought that brand and they were going to end up making phone games forever. And so it's happy to see. I'm very, very happy to see that like that is on a home console. It's getting the love that it deserves. I love Bomberman. Very, very happy about that.
Yeah, and it's like what you mentioned. I guess I never really thought of doing it this way, but like playing it in the handheld mode and just like undocking the Joy-Cons and then like handing it to somebody. This would be one of those games where that is really displayed well because it's very simple. It's a very simple game. It's like almost a top-down game. So yeah, I think this is one of those games that in handheld mode co-op would be really, really cool.
Well, that's also kind of why I'm disappointed that at the European American launch, Puyo Puyo Tetris is not there. Because my lord, Puyo Puyo Tetris is the best puzzle game I played 2 years ago.
Well, the nice thing about the Switch is it's region-free, so you could just import it day one.
Well, apparently you can just download it from the Japanese eShop, so that I will do
Roger,
that.
I don't know if you heard about that, but you don't even need to like import. You can just like change one of your accounts to being the Japanese, like a Japanese account.
When was this announced? Like while I was recording stuff?
They was said in an interview yesterday.
Oh, that is amazing. Well, that like makes me very happy.
Yeah, so I think like on your system, you just want to make sure you have at least 2 users registered to the system. One can be Japanese, one can be like for you American, and you'll be able to access those eShops.
Yeah, and I will definitely download it that way because my lord, like stuff they put in that game, like it's super full featured. You can have online, you have local multiplayer. You can play various modes of Puyo Puyo and Tetris even mixed to each other. So it's a really, really fun game. So I can't wait to have that on the go and just hand somebody a Joy-Cons like, yo, let's play this.
Now, is that a retail release or is that strictly downloadable?
It's going to be retail in Europe and North America too. The digital version is going to be cheaper.
Okay.
So the full retail version will be $40. The digital version will be $30.
I kind of think Bomberman is slightly overpriced. Super Bomberman R. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. That especially if you compare it to Puyo Puyo Tetris, which is again now 30 or 40 depending on what you like. Yeah, that seems kind of pricey.
I mean, to be fair, Bomberman has like more character models that are 3D and animated in 3D environments, so it does. I mean, it has a little bit more production to it than Puyo Puyo.
No, Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Puyo Puyo is just like 2D. It's just like 2D wiggling the characters.
Puyo Puyo Tetris has a lot of stuff going on in that game.
Yeah, but it's not like 2D art. It's like you're not moving through levels or anything.
Not everything, but okay, I will see where you're coming from.
All right, Don is a Puyo Puyo fanboy. I'm calling it right here.
No, I'm a Puyo Puyo Tetris fanboy. That's a very big distinction.
I am actually. I'm looking at the trailer right now after Don was talking about that, and actually, the effects on it are very nice. Like it does look very.
Okay,
very
I didn't
cool.
see it in motion.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in motion yet, so I'm completely.
I played about 50 hours on that on my Japanese 3DS.
Wow! Jeez.
So there is one. I think there's one final. There's 2 games. Okay, let's get some Splatoon in, and then we'll end it with Mario Kart 8.
Okay, sure.
So Splatoon is pretty exciting. Roger, was it you and I who kept saying no? This is a sequel, and everybody else is like, this looks like.
That
a
was in
port.
fact us, and I want to specifically call out somebody. I want to call out somebody right here,
I'm all for
right
this.
now. All right, this man. I think his name's Greg. I don't know what his full name is, but his name's Greg, and he is on the YouTube channel called Kind of Funny Games. And they did a whole Switch breakdown, and they were, spoiler alert, like super against it because they don't like Nintendo stuff. And he mentions on it, in Splatoon, which is just this, it's basically a port, whatever, we don't care about this. Splatoon 2 is whatever, it's a port. And I knew right then and there that he had never played Splatoon before and that he didn't watch this footage because just adding the roll mechanic and adding the zip lines in multiplayer already make this a totally different game. And the fact that we only saw one returning stage, but the returning stage had the zip lines, we have all these new levels, all the specials are new, there's a new hub world, there's a new character. This is clearly a sequel. And for anyone to say that it's just an enhanced port, I think is it's disingenuous because I feel like the game is absolutely warranted of the Splatoon 2 name.
Yeah, I think some people are saying, oh, it's a very play it safe sequel and blah blah blah. But first of all, we don't know that for sure. We haven't seen everything about the game. It does look like there's a lot of new stuff happening in that new plaza. I mean, for some reason, Kix or whatever is not Kix. That's from Animal Crossing. The dude that sells the shoes in Splatoon,
Krusty Sean.
Krusty Sean. There you go. I
love
name
that
for
name.
a shoe
Krusty
salesman.
Sean.
It's really bad. Yeah, he's got like some sort of weird food booth or something set up. We were talking about. So it seems like there's a lot of new stuff. I mean, it's such a new genre. It's such a new franchise for Nintendo that it's probably not the best idea to completely throw everything out the window and change everything about it, especially since it is a multiplayer online game. That might upset a lot of people who like spent so much time getting to know the mechanics and everything. I still
the
think
following words are going to upset Roger. I
love this.
Play it.
Ugh. I am jealous.
It's super fun. Oh my god. I got to I mostly toyed around with the Splat Dualies because that was the big new thing there. And my lord, you have a lot of range with that thing.
You mean the tracer guns, right? That's literally what they are.
Yes.
Yeah, tracers in Splatoon now. Great.
Is that the one with the really nice butt?
From Overwatch, yeah. With the 2 guns. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she bringing her butt into
I hope
Splatoon
not, because
too?
these are squid children, so I hope not.
But yeah, you have a lot of good range there, and if you do the dodge and make it one spray, you can really hit enemies effectively from afar, which is really good. And then the special with the jet ink is so incredibly goofy and stupid. I love it.
Wait, is that the one where you're like Mario Sunshine?
You're in the air and it's shooting big paint balloons all around you. It's so super cool.
I love the rain cloud.
Yeah, it's like you got a flood.
The rain cloud one looks really fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they seem to be going really crazy with some of the new weapons, and I love that. I love me some crazy gooey ink splattering.
And to get a little bit into the lore too, I want to mention this really quick. Is Judd from the first game was apparently the only cat on Earth. Like, the only one left.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering where the heck Judd Jr. came from. Because Judd is a boy, and I don't think there's any female cats, so I'm thinking maybe Judd Jr. is like a clone or something.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, or maybe there was one. I mean, that's actually the story. You're going to
find out the origins of Judd Jr. Judd Jr. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one level in that demo which was the reef, and it seemed like you're basically a symmetrical level.
Urchin, it's like the new Urchin Underpass. It looks like
not
kind of a basic thing, the standard basic
it
course.
had more going on in Urchin Underpass because it was more layered. Like you started at the top and going down there, and then you have the big open areas where Urchin Underpass was more equally level except for the beginning. So this felt more layered and more abstract in a sense, and you have the bridges and everything where you can cross over in the middle. So it seemed to more perfectly line up in a way that I felt was more special.
What was there was a course they showed. It has like a car or like a garage or a car wash or something in it. There's like a vehicle you can get up on.
I don't know. I know the level that I want to play really badly is the one that looks like a gym. With like the climbing wall and with all the workout equipment. That one looks really cool.
Fun. Yeah.
If they don't make a muscle pun with that level, I'm going to be very disappointed in them.
Oh, because I get it. See, that I get. Arms, I don't get. I don't get the pun in arms. But one question I was going to ask you when you're talking about it. Can anybody do the dodge move, or is the dodge move exclusive to a certain item? Because I heard it was.
I only tried it with the Splat Dualies, so...
That seems to be a Splat Dualies specific thing, unfortunately.
Well, the big difference, for example, with the paint roller is that you can now throw ink in a line away from you, which is also a nice touch. Mm-hmm. So I think that every weapon has some new stuff added to it, which is good.
I almost feel like the dodge move, though, should have been just a universal new move for no matter what item you have.
Maybe, yeah. Like, I played this demo with the Pro Controller, and I must say that the Pro Controller feels really nice.
Does it have motion control in it or no?
Yes, it has the HD Rumble and the motion sensor.
Good.
Okay, cool.
Also the NFC stuff, which was super weird.
Which is in the analog stick, right?
Yeah.
Which is a strange place
because,
to put it.
Just going on a side note, I played Skylanders Imaginators during the event, and the version on Switch doesn't have a portal.
Which is cool.
You actually are using the Joy-Con to scan them in.
Yeah, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's one less piece of crap plastic that you have to worry about keeping around your house to scan them in.
I'm curious with the with the NFC too, like how they're going to utilize the Splatoon amiibos again, because I'm sure that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do.
You know, they better give us a Judd amiibo, and I want a Krusty Sean amiibo.
That would be nice.
I want more amiibos from those new characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Or just some of the side characters.
Yeah. The big difference in the controls, there are not many differences, but I think that B is now jumping, and X brings up the map, and you have to just move around the cursor, which you can also do with the motion sensing, and press the A button and then jump there.
Okay, and did that feel pretty smooth, or did it feel like it's a little bit less than ideal?
It felt less direct than selecting one on the gamepad, but it's totally doable.
Still, okay. And can you pull that up and just check at any time so you can see if you're winning?
Yes, you can absolutely do that.
Cool.
Just press the X button and then you're good.
Okay, because I felt that was a really important part of playing Splatoon on the Wii U, being able to just glance down and see, what areas do we need to work on.
Yeah. And I think that aspect of it, like, checking the map on the glance is actually way better than with the Wii U gamepad.
Right, because you don't have to move your eyesight.
No, yeah. But, like, selecting the place that you want to go, like, from a friend, is slightly more risky than before.
Okay. Can you, is this I know this is in the game, but I don't know if it's just something anybody can do at any time. When you jump to one of your friends, can't you, like, slam down onto the ground and make a big splash?
No, that's a special weapon.
Okay. Yeah, that is in the game, though, correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely in the game.
Cool.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's an amazing special. And then finally, just one last Splatoon 2 thing, and it's the most important thing in the entire game. It's the greatest update. Roger, what am I going to say?
I think, hopefully, you're going to say...
Josh Thomas' favorite update.
I know. Okay. I want you to say local multiplayer, but I know it's shoes. I know it.
It's the shoes. Yeah. The shoes are better, yeah. Local multiplayer, screw that. What good is
No,
local
but that's
multiplayer
something that
when
we
you
kind
don't
of
have
skipped
good
over
shoot
that I
style?
think is like crucially important with this game is like I wanted so badly for there to be a local multiplayer mode in the first Splatoon, and there is, but it's not good. Let's be real. Like, it's not good. Like, the dojo thing or whatever is not good.
It's absolutely not good.
This is real local multiplayer Splatoon, and that gets me really, really excited. But I agree with you, Josh. The shoes are pretty cool.
They finally fixed the shoe problem. Thank goodness for that. Otherwise, I wasn't going to buy it. If the shoes weren't better, I said to myself, I don't care what's in it. If they have ugly shoes...
Were the shoes that bad in the original Splatoon, though?
I think there was probably 20% of them, please.
But I also want to say
keep
this
in mind,
about Splatoon, which is like, going back to while we're talking about the customization aspects, is like with Splatoon 2, it seems like gloves and pants don't have anything attached to them, that they're just purely cosmetic.
As far as I could see with, like, splitting enemies, you only see, like, the 3 basic aspects from the first game.
Right.
Yeah, but I think you can buy them separate, though.
Yeah. You can customize those. It's just that there's not going to be, like, specials tied to them. Yeah.
Right, which I'm fine
me too.
with.
I think it's a good way to get around it without, like, making the game a little too complicated.
Yep, exactly. You go too far with that, and it's just like, oh, this is just a mess, and it's too confusing. But you can wear tights to show off your inkling bulge now, I noticed.
Nice.
Some of the dudes are wearing tights with. Anyways, Roger, why'd you say something so weird?
I didn't say anything. You're the one who brought the inkling bulges. I didn't say that.
All right, let's wrap this up with something I am incredibly excited about, probably more than I should be. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has a battle mode, and all is right with the world, and I believe in everything again because I have a battle mode in a Mario Kart game now.
That's nice.
Which was fun. I got to play 2 stages of it, which were Urchin Underpass and the NES Battle Course 1.
Okay, what did you think? Did it feel like battle mode to you? Is battle mode back? It absolutely
feels like battle mode.
Fantastic.
I feel that I say absolutely a lot in this episode. No, but it's totally there.
I hope you were playing as the Inklings, because then you could do the little tricks and they turn into squids.
Yes, I played with the Inklings.
Good.
Good
man.
One more I played like a guy who looked like King Boo. Not sure what was up with that, especially the crown, but hopefully they'll fix it before the game actually comes out. The Inkling boy and Inkling girl, I played with those a ton. And Urchin Underpass is exactly what you would expect from an Urchin Underpass themed battle course. And it you have the large open areas again, you have some platforms. They made it more wider in some aspects, like you had the gates where you had to swim through in Splatoon, which they made now open so you can just drive through the different paths. So you have a lot of diversity in how you approach that level, which is really nice. And then Battle Course 1 is your basic course with the squared edges around them, and then they added 2 jump paths on either end of them.
Yeah, they also there's like 4 sections that you can go in this area, like in each of it's like a square, and then there's like 4 little squares on the like side areas. They raised those up from the Super Nintendo, so those are like at a higher altitude than the rest of the course, which I thought was a good idea. Like they, you ramp up.
Oh yeah,
those.
for sure.
So I thought that was a neat little update. I'm sad that you didn't play the Luigi's Mansion GameCube remake, because
it was. I tried. I played 4 rounds. I wasn't not there in that demo, I think.
Oh my goodness, because that looks like so great. You guys know how I feel.
I already know your Halloween videos are going to be on fleek for that level.
That is definitely going to be in Halloween week.
But Luigi's Mansion is also a good battle course. So
that was fantastic in Double Dash. And it looks even better now. They added just a lot of visual details, but they also added in the underground area. They added I think there's like a table or something splitting apart in the middle of one of those.
Oh, okay.
And, so they did add some actual physical architecture to it down there, and also obviously on the roof it's raining, and they added that trellis thing over the roof, which I thought was kind of cool.
Okay, here's me with a very nerdy question about battle mode towards you, right? Okay. How do you feel about now starting with 5 balloons?
So the fact that you respawn with only 3, I'm okay with that. I think it's kind of a fine, it's not a bad thing or a good thing to me.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, if you would have respawned with 5 balloons, I would have thought, that's maybe not ideal, but when you respawn, they do only give you 3 balloons. So it's almost like those 2 balloons are just a little bonus for the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that worried me because, a lot of people would say like, oh, if they just put battle maps in Mario Kart 8, it would be perfect. But that actually isn't true. There were a lot of things wrong with just the way that the battle mode played. And they have corrected all of them from what I've been able to find. Like, I really have looked over this with like a fine-tooth comb to make sure it's fixed. And so, like, for example, respawning now, I hated the idea of driving around as a ghost in Mario Kart 8. I would just put my controller down and, like, go to my computer. Because it was so boring to be a ghost. And all you're getting is green shells and banana peels. You can't get any more points.
Oh, yeah.
What's the point?
That's something I've noticed that it definitely have fixed.
Right, so respawn, and they take half of your points, which I think is a good punishment. So it makes you think, okay, I don't want to lose all my balloons.
In Wii, it was like 1 balloon, right?
No, in the Wii, I think they did take half your balloons as well.
Okay.
Or have your points.
Fair enough.
Which I'm happy about, because I think the Wii version is, aside from like the local multiplayer, I think the Wii version is like a really good battle mode.
Yeah, outside of like being in teams, I think that's the battle mode like nailed it down like really well.
Yep, and that's what we got here in Mario Kart 8
We
Deluxe.
did, yeah. I also, on a side note, I played with that new Joy-Con wheel.
Mm-hmm. How did that feel? Is it too small?
It's definitely smaller. But the big difference there is you have 2 buttons on the back, so you have more control over your items and your drifting, which I think is a major difference, and I actually really like that wheel more now.
I'm actually surprised at all the things to bring back from the Wii era. Yeah, let's bring back the Wii wheel. I mean, I don't mind. I actually like playing with the Wii wheel, and I
that's all I've ever played
on.
with.
Okay.
Yeah, I did too. So, but they actually made like the concept of the Wii wheel better by allowing you to also use a shoulder button to send off items, which I think is a big difference.
Shoulder button as in where is it located on the wheel?
Just on the back.
So here's a question for you.
Your fingers actually just hang around those 2 buttons, so it feels really nice.
So they did, when you lock the Wii remote into a Wii wheel now, what happens is they have the extra B trigger that they made, or you get you feel the B trigger underneath like your left hand. Yeah. One of the problems that I always had was in between matches, I would always come over to my desk and I would put the Wii wheel down and it would hit the B button nonstop because it was like, when you'd put it down, it would hit that damn button. And so it would always like try to back me out of a match. Right. Is that something that could happen with the new Wii wheels?
No.
Well?
You actually have to press them in.
Okay.
SL and SR are actually raised within that wheel, so you can actually just rest your fingers on them, which feels real good.
Okay, cool. And that's how you power slide, correct?
Yeah, the SR is how you power slide, SL is how you throw items.
Okay.
And then I played a few races in handheld mode.
Nice.
Okay. Seems like that's not an ideal game to play with 2-player split screen in handheld because it'd be so small.
Well, yeah, I only played it alone in handheld mode, and that felt fine.
Okay. What does it run at frame rate wise? 60 frames, right, on handheld mode?
I think it runs 60 frames regardless of handheld mode or TV, but again, it's 720p on that handheld screen.
Oh, here's something. I think I might have asked you this, Don. I don't remember who I asked. Maybe it was Andre that I asked. Mm-hmm. It looks like 3 to 4 players locally is not 60 frames.
I heard that's the case, yeah. I heard that's 30.
Okay. But you didn't actually personally witness any of that?
No, I played it solely with 2 people. Except for the
Okay.
handheld mode, where they had the entire setup, where they had 8 handhelds like around the table. And we all played together in the local multiplayer option.
So one of the reasons that in my house Mario Kart 8 never actually caught on as being one of the games that we all play together when we hang out is we can't play Mario Kart in 30 frames per second 4-player split screen. It just looks horrible, feels horrible. So we never really played it. We just played double
felt
dash.
also a lot slower with 4 people.
Right, yeah. It just feels very chuggy and slower, and it wasn't satisfying to play at all.
I think at the very least they hopefully have fixed that. But
still, one of the options around it, though, is we're thinking that, like, one of my friends could bring his Switch here, and we could literally just have, like, 2 people on my TV with the split screen, and then, like, maybe 2 people playing on their Switch handheld mode, and then just connect to each other online, which should give us the 60 frames per second then, right? It's kind of a workaround in a way.
I definitely think that could work. Honestly, I will likely end up with a second Switch anyway and just play local multiplayer with a friend that way, but we'll see.
So that is Mario Kart 8. Yeah, I'm personally very excited. Are you guys excited about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at all? Are you going to double dip? Or are you
I'm going to double dip,
Yeah.
but I can't necessarily say that I'm super excited for it, but it's something I will play, definitely.
Yeah, I'm more excited of just the prospect of playing an HD Mario Kart on the go. Like, I think that's real, and an HD Mario Kart on the go that also has a battle mode. So I like that. I'm really, I'm not excited, but I am happy, and I'm looking forward to playing it. Like, I'm excited. Sure. I'm excited for Xenoblade 2. Like, I am...
Okay, do you want to talk about that? Yeah, I guess I'm a little biased. I didn't bring that up. You guys can go at it.
I think it's amazing that, one, that it's a direct sequel to the first game. Two, that it uses this art style that, like, is finally moving away from that weird, like, semi-realistic anime face look. I love Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Those faces, regardless of the first game or X, look kind of...
Yeah, they looked weird. And I love Xenoblade Chronicles X. The original Xenoblade's probably one of my 10 favorite games of this, like, past generation. I feel like Xenoblade was so good. The past decade, I'd say. It's probably in my top 10. And so for them to do a direct sequel to it, with the art style that it has, and the fact that it's coming out in 2017, like, that's a game I thoroughly expect to get a delay. Like, if we actually end up getting that game, even if it's only in one territory this year, that's going to blow my mind. And if it does end up coming out in 2017, you better believe, even if it's only in one region, if it's only in Japan, I'm going to be importing the heck out of that. Thank you, region-free Nintendo Switch.
You don't need to import anymore. Just make an account.
That's what I'm saying. Download it. It's going to be great. I can't wait. Xenoblade 2.
For me, I am very looking forward to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but for me, it's that kind of Fire Emblem. So I'm excited for an actual Fire Emblem game and console again, which has been coming for a very long time, because the last one was, I think, in 2008. Which was a good even longer, 9 years ago. Almost.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn make their way to a virtual console, because, like, there's all these rumors about a GameCube virtual console, and
I was really hoping that the Wii one would come out on Wii U, but that never happened.
Yeah, it never did.
No. And Fire Emblem Warriors, I like Hyrule Warriors enough to give this a try.
For sure.
But first, there's another Fire Emblem game on 3DS.
Yeah,
I'm ecstatic.
It's weird to me. At the same time, I get it. Like the 3DS generation embraced Fire Emblem in a way that I never held accountable or possible, because I thought that at the start of this 3DS generation that my favorite franchise would be dead, and now it's pretty much alive. Doesn't make that I really.
And it's not just, like, alive, it is thriving. Like, it's become one of, like, the big franchises for Nintendo.
That doesn't mean I like every decision that they made, especially with Fates.
Sure.
I think that some of the decisions that they made with Fates didn't feel in the line of the games that I like. And that's something that's really harsh for me to say, honestly. At the same time, I also need to realize that without those decisions made, my favorite franchise of Nintendo would be dead by now.
Well, you'll know how I feel about Chibi Robo then.
Well, I think Chibi Robo's one that they could put away that franchise. I don't think we need another Chibi Robo.
But I'm okay with, like, them doing new stuff, like with Zelda, how they did Hyrule Warriors. So I'm okay with that. But it's, it goes all fast for me, especially in the last couple of years. But we'll see how it goes.
So I think that pretty much covers it. I don't know if there's any stones unturned here with this discussion.
No, I don't think that none of us have something else we want to talk about.
No, I think we covered everything.
So Nintendo is doomed. They're going bankrupt. They don't have third-party support. Controllers are too expensive, and we have to pay for online now. It's over. It's over for Nintendo. I think we can all agree on this. No, I mean, like, what do you guys think overall? What are your, as Nintendo fans, as people who frequently talk about Nintendo, after this presentation, what is your general thought of Nintendo going forward?
I am pretty excited for the Switch. I think it's going to have a good year. I think that the launch could have been slightly better overall. Maybe an additional game would have been nicer, but I think it will all turn out fine in the end, especially if you look at the games that are coming, especially from Nintendo. It seems more thriving than the Wii U's first year.
Yeah,
Roger?
pretty much think that this is not going to be a Wii U 2. And I've seen a lot of people throwing that out there like, we're just going to be a Wii U 2. It's like, no. I think with the software lineup, I think just seeing mainstream people talking about this system in a way that's unique and different, I think this is really what they wanted to do with the Wii U. And the technology just wasn't there yet. And I think this is going to be a very big success. And I think people underestimate how many people skipped the Wii U generation and who see Breath of the Wild not as a Wii U game, but as almost exclusively a Switch game, where they're going to be like, oh, there's a new Zelda game? I got to buy the new system for that. And I think there's a lot of really good games, something even like Mario Kart, that like people missed out on who never picked up a Wii U, and now they're going to get this new system, and they'll be playing this new Mario Kart for the first time. I feel good about the Switch. I'm very happy.
I really hope that they keep this up at E3, that they announce a whole bunch of stuff, even if it's coming in 2018.
Yeah, I think this has the potential to be a really strong E3 for Nintendo, because I feel like at the least, we're going to get Smash and Pikmin. I think at the very least. And everything beyond that is just maybe Stars, that Pokemon, putting a Pokemon game on a home console for the first time would be just incredible. That would be like a huge boost.
That would be a huge system seller for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hoping, Josh, for a new Animal Crossing.
Me too.
Did somebody say Animal Crossing? I heard somebody... I think it's... the last Animal Crossing they made was released in 2012, which is a long, long time ago. So I feel like they have got to be working on a Switch
Have you
version.
forgotten about Animal Crossing titles?
Amiibo Festival doesn't exist. Don't ever talk about that trash game, ever. Ever.
I don't even think that was made by the Animal Crossing team.
Gosh darn it.
I reviewed it too. I put it in a garbage can, and that was my review. I posted a video on Twitter.
Okay.
But I think Happy Home Designer and Amiibo Festival, was that even the actual Animal Crossing team?
I don't know.
The Happy Home Designer, I think yes.
But I mean, how much effort went into Happy Home Designer though? A lot of the assets were already made from New Leaf.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that wasn't really a big development cycle to where could have distracted them too much from a real Animal Crossing.
And at least Happy Home Designer was a competent game, not unlike the other game.
Amiibo Fest. You don't even like saying the name. It haunts you.
Oh, I am still bitter about what happened at the end of my December board run.
That happens frequently, by the way. It happened to us when we played it around Christmas time, where it just instantly says, okay, here's 50,000 bells, and it just totally changes the game.
Boy.
The last few
I
rounds.
lost all of my bells, though. All 134,000 of them.
Well, get better at the game, Don.
Yeah, you
Come
scrub.
on. MLG Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Yeah, I'm really excited about E3 too, because the first E3 that I ever went to was probably one of the worst E3s for Nintendo ever. So I am going to be attending this year, and it would be amazing if it was like a really good E3. But yeah, I mean, I just to parrot what you guys said, I totally agree. I think this, I mean, if I'm being positive about something, that's got to mean something.
I said this to for those of you guys who watch videos on my channel, and you saw the discussion that I did with Don and with Josh for Game of the Year. One of my really good friends back home, Bill, I consider him like the everyman. Like, whatever he says about a system, if he likes it or he doesn't like it, I usually consider his opinion as probably what the mainstream is thinking. And he considers your opinion, Josh, to almost always be right, because not necessarily in terms of of your thoughts on specific games, but on your thoughts on things overall. Because you were one of the very few Nintendo quote-unquote fanboys who said from the beginning you didn't think Wii U was going to do that hot.
I had a bad feeling about it.
And you also are one of the very few people... Go ahead.
I think I tweeted something similar out after E3 2012.
And I gotta say, Josh, you were also one of the very few people who predicted a Donald Trump presidency. And I think that's important to note on Inauguration Day, that not only did you correctly count the Wii U basically being not as successful as it should have been, and correctly predict the Donald Trump presidency, and now you're saying that you think the Switch is going to be a success. I think...
I'm going to say
right.
The Switch is going to be huge.
Huge. It's going to be huge for Nintendo.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this rather lengthy discussion about our impressions of the Nintendo Switch presentation. I want to thank Nintendaan and RogersBase for joining me. The links to follow them will be in the video description below. And as always, thank you guys very much for listening. Keep it locked right here to the BitBlock for a lot more Nintendo Switch coverage.